Who are the voices of Bluey and Bingo? G'day, you cheeky dog. We are talking about this topic today because for some reason it started to trend all over again on like Instagram Reels and Reddit posts and things like that. And honestly, the answer is different depending on what country you're actually watching Bluey in. Because in some countries they are voiced by adults and in other countries they are voiced by children. And typically kids shows are usually voiced by adults. It makes a lot of sense business-wise.
Hello, Zuko here.
Because of course an adult voice actor, their voice won't change. They're putting on a specific voice to voice a child character. So they have a lot more longevity. Like they can keep doing it for years and years and years without that voice changing.
Cause green's your favorite color. Cause green is your favorite color.
But they can also voice more than one character, which also makes it technically cheaper. You hire one person who can voice 10 different types of characters versus hiring 10 people to voice 10 different characters. A perfect example of this, of course, is Nancy Cartwright, who is a middle-aged woman voicing a young boy child, Bart Simpson, amongst, of course, dozens of other characters. Although she gets paid quite a lot these days.
Well, as long as they are praying, and while we're at it, I get to anoint their feet.
And that, my friends, is how I make a living.
But let's bring it back to Bluey. Like I said, in some countries, Bluey is, yes, voiced by an adult character. For example, in the Japanese version, Bluey and Bingo are both voiced by adult Japanese women.
私は観客でこれはポップコーン。私は舞台監督。みんなに指示をするの。でも観客だから私には指示できないんだよ。
Same in the Chinese version as well, they're both voiced by adult Chinese women. However, in of course the English as well as the Spanish and the French version, they're all voiced by children, but each country has had its own ideas on what they want to do with those voice actors. Now specifically in the original Australian version with the Australian accents, Joe Brumm, the creator of Bluey, has stated in multiple interviews that the voices of Bluey and Bingo are friends of the production and crew at Ludo Studios. And that is it. They have specifically done this to ensure, one, obviously the privacy of the kids, but the ability for them to still have a childhood and a regular life. They want to let them be kids. Dan Brumm, the voice of Uncle Stripe and the sound designer of Bluey, also spoke about this in a podcast.
They're doing this adult thing, which is making an animated series, but just let them be kids and have their own lives. And I think it's a really wonderful decision the production company made. There's absolutely no reason anyone needs to know. It's just enjoy the show for what it is and just let them be kids.
Now again, this is not surprising. We have all seen what happens to child actors, specifically in Hollywood. When children are exposed to the entertainment industry, even though there are a lot of laws that are supposed to protect them, majority of the time that doesn't seem to happen. That's both within like their working rights when they're on set, but also just in general outside of that with social media and harassment issues that they have to face. I feel really sorry for the upcoming kids who are going to be in Harry Potter because that has got to be tough. So of course, Ludo Studios wanted to protect a lot of the kids in the show who weren't already in the industry. There are a few who already were, and they've done their own interviews on Australian TV about that.
Can you explain your roles within Bluey?
I can tell you that it's a wonderful production. I play a couple of the characters. My favorite character that I play is Chloe, so that's Bluey's best friend. I absolutely love working with the team. I can tell you one other character, but we don't like talking about Judo because she's a bit mean.
We don't talk about Bruno.
So we don't talk about her because not a lot of people like her, but yes, that's one of the other characters I play.
But specifically for Bluey and Bingo, they really wanted to keep them protected so that this wouldn't happen to them.
Have you guys met the kids at all or talked to them?
Have we met? We are not allowed to say anything about the kids. That's the level of secrecy. So have you seen what happens to child stars? Like, we don't want that happening to the Bluey kids.
No, and Bluey and Bingo, that's who they are.
Exactly. And then I guess for an audience, until, you know, one day, decades into the future, when they're adults, they can decide what they want to do. But for everyone else, they're really just these little dogs. Because no one knows anything else, which is kind of magical.
But of course, that is a lot of effort to keep them protected because Joe Brumm really wanted the show to actually be authentic and sound authentic as well. Bluey and Bingo are based off his two own daughters. They created the inspiration for the show, for the games, even for a lot of the words that we hear in the show too. So of course, they want the lines to be natural and authentic and genuine. And to do this, they actually record the lines before they animate.
I think this is what's unique about Bluey is that the way my brother writes for kids, he writes the kids' lines the way that kids actually speak.
From what Dan Brumm said in his interview, what they do is the director will tell the kids their lines, the kids will then try to replicate that line as best they can, but of course they add in their own little bits and bobs to make it sound more authentic.
But often they kind of go off script a little and just sort of hit a weird key or a weird intonation or something like that, and it ends up funnier than the director could have planned himself, and that line invariably is the one that ends up getting used.
I was sick yesterday. I was sick yesterday. I was sick last week. Oh, I had rabies.
And we can tell that especially from like the giggles in the show. They are the most genuine little kid giggles that you have ever heard.
Put a bit of salt on first. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Swallow. Oh man, that was good.
Now, of course, this does still come with some other issues. The idea of picking authenticity over business with adult voice actors versus kid voice actors. You get a lot of complications with both, specifically with the adult voice actors in other languages. It does cause for a lot of the characters to end up kind of switching genders. The most common one, of course, is Mackenzie, who is voiced by female adult voice actors, so a lot of other countries thought that Mackenzie was a girl. Which makes things, of course, very interesting for the end of Surprise, when Bluey's baby is meant to be like an equal half mixture of Mackenzie and Jean-Luc, which could, of course, be very confusing for countries who've decided to label Mackenzie as a girl. You see where I'm going with this. Of course, though, on the other side, with having the children voice actors, we've got the issue with them aging up. And both Joff Bush and Dan Brumm have talked about ways that they've edited the kids' voice over the years to try and get them to still sound as young as they are supposed to be, like changing the pitch and making it higher, also speeding up their lines as well. There's only so far that that's gonna work because most of those kids are going into their teen years now. The boys are gonna start to sound so different, specifically Rusty, Jack, and Mackenzie.
Hello, Polly. Good to see you again. Yeah. You know the most about space. Oh, green plastic. Let's go to Mars. It's got aliens.
And that basically leads to the point of what's going to happen for the movie. Will they just end up recasting a lot of these actors and characters, or are they going to try and find different ways to edit their voices without it sounding too strange?
Did you leave our blocks up?
Sure did.
So Cheeky Dogs, I would like to know what your thoughts are on this down below in that comment section. Would you rather them try and find the best way to edit the current voice actors to try and get them to still sound like kids, even if it does sound a little bit off? Or would you rather them recast all of those child actors with those children roles to someone who sounds almost as close to it as they can? Like, for example, what they've done with Peppa Pig over the years. I think there's 3 Peppa Pigs in total now. I want to know all of your thoughts and feelings in that comment section down below. And if you are interested about some of the more details with the different voice actors in Bluey with the adults, I have done a video already about the inspiration behind Uncle Rad, so I'll make sure I leave it up here in one of my videos, and I will have more out as well. So if you do love Bluey, don't forget to hit that like button down below, as well as that subscribe button and that bell for notifications, so you know whenever I release any other Bluey themed videos. But until then, I have all these other videos that you cheeky dogs might like, and I will see you all in another video. Mwah! Bye!